Owen Benjamin tried to poison my lasagna. That's how you're going to try and diss someone in a wheelchair? By saying that the wind blew them over? That's your slight jab at me, buddy? Nice try. Must be nice to try and make, jokes like that. Found out about Owen Benjamin and the Unbearables. I can't remember exactly who told me about them. It might have been one of them who had reached out to me, actually. Long story short, in like March of 2018, I was looking to, of course, continue building the show, and I was looking for a group of networkers, kind of like-minded creative conservatives, and I was told about the Unbearables. I found out about Owen through the JRE podcast. To be honest, I wasn't really a big fan of him comedically. Like, I thought he was okay, but he wasn't, great. But I kind of liked what he was doing with the whole, anti-trans kids thing. That really spoke out to me. And in the beginning, the Unbearables seemed to be a great network. People who were doing creative stuff like art and design and podcasting and video production, parody, songs, musicianship, in the case of Chuck Boris, and just late night streams, which was how I met the original DZ guys. Of course, John Neary was my first interview for the brief period of time I was with the Bears. But here's the thing, Owen's not even a conservative. He's a fucking leftist, posing. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. How dare you! Owen is doing the shit that mass shooters do before they go out and do a school shooting. Here's my manifesto. We need to get rid of the weak people, and I'm not saying he's going to be the one to do this.
An Australian man murdered his wife with a pair of scissors, stabbed her in the chest.
This is a warning to the general public about Owen Benjamin. We've warned you. How dare you!
Must be nice.
According to him, the goat urinated on him first, in front of Amy.
all this gay talk is pissing off my German Shepherd.
Alrighty, folks. Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the Whitfield Report. Sorry we're so late starting. We were supposed to start over an hour ago at 10, but long story short, YouTube and Google and all of those weirdos Kevin Dugan says, check my mic. Really, already, Kevin? There are mic issues? I'm not yelling at you, Kevin. I'm pissed with YouTube and everything already. Anyway, is this any better? Anyway, thanks for joining me and joining the show. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at @SomDipper_NDC. Hashtag Whitfield Report. You can follow me on You can follow me on Gab and Minds at Sam Whitfield, no longer on Parlor. Yep, Parlor is dead. The samwhitfield.com is my website, and facebook.com/The Whitfield Report, and also for the time being, you can still donate to streamlabs.com/The Whitfield Report, and we deeply appreciate that. And I am joined by the good gentleman over at Versa Media, who they've been on mute on stream for the past couple minutes, but and I've been hanging over there on their stream, so we're kind of simulcasting. So, gentlemen, how are you doing this evening?
How?
I'm doing all right.
All right.
You sure smell a lot like flowers.
Well,
Is YouTube gonna take my shit off if I do that? Because I was doing a hanky poo thing. Anyway, whatever.
I mean,
Hey, if you're imitating Herbert the Pervert, they're probably gonna allow it on YouTube.
Well, it's not Twitter.
It's close. Remember the kids stuff they used to have on YouTube?
Well, see, that's the thing. Like YouTube actually does a pretty good job of taking shit like that down, but Twitter, I don't know.
But I think if it's just me impersonating somebody, I don't think that should count because like it doesn't matter. Like it shouldn't because I'm that fucking funny.
Let's go like a copyright claim by fucking like.
We're copywriting claim because you shouldn't have impersonated that person. Like no, okay, so legally, it's transformative art. Okay, so
it's transformative art doesn't mean shit to YouTube anymore. I've gotten copyright strikes for supposed transformative.
Susan Wojcicki, that old fucking bag. All right.
But anyway,
we were just ranting about Parler though and how stupid they are.
Well,
they are fucking idiots, grossly fucking morons.
Even if they come back, who would want to get it at this point? What do they have that Gab doesn't offer?
Yeah,
they have a shittier UI. They have shittier data management. They have shittier CEOs and management. That's what they have. The Gab does.
Going from Gab to Parlor is like leaving filet mignon for some fucking beef jerky. That's
the only thing that Parlor had at that time was that they weren't banned yet, and now they lost that. So
and
yeah, they had the apps and they had the people,
and
now they have no app, no people, because they have no site,
and they had fewer neo-Nazis too. Then
that's true.
Actually, you know what? Being on Gab, I haven't really seen the fucking neo-Nazis that everybody says is on the fucking platform. Like I've yet to see anything like wild and crazy on the fucking platform. Like I've seen it on Telegram. I've seen weird shit on Telegram.
That's because Telegram has a far greater problem with that, without doubt. With Gab, because there's been this mass migration from Parler to Gab, the normies have outnumbered the crazies. And so it's more of how you'd expect it, and it would be for a free speech platform.
Yeah. I mean, all I do is look, and I love Gab. I'm ever since I left Twitter and I've been on Gab, it's been fucking glorious. And all I do is just I make jokes and people laugh and we have a good time. Somebody wrote like I'm not a beekeeper yet, but I want to help repopulate the bees. What should I do? Whatever. And I had to be a dick, and I'd be like, "Look, I heard that feeding them any flower except for the wither flower will help repopulate the bees." Yes, that was a really shitty Minecraft joke. Okay.
Well,
where the wither flower.
Well, at least someone's able to make jokes in these troubling times. So, gentlemen, since the last time we spoke, we have a new. I don't even know if I can call him president at this point. More like.
Oh, don't be a Qer. Don't be a
No,
QAnon where they
no,
think it's a
no, 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 no. Fuck those people. Fuck.
It's really Trump in a
It's
mask.
not really, yeah, it's not really, he's not really president, man. It's like a covert operation.
Come on.
And
No, I've
That's
seen
fucking
the cute.
face off.
It's Trump in a mask and a bodysuit. That's what happened.
No. Have you seen this, Sam? Like they literally, and I'll tell a personal anecdote of this. They literally think it's the movie Face Off. Like they literally think that.
I know. I fucking look. I've heard. I think you actually like my tweet on this, but I shit you not. I heard from one of my neighbors who is into Q, who shall remain nameless. I know he listens to this show, so you know who you are. But for God's sakes, okay. So the latest Q theory is that like, Trump lives here in Florida, right? So
No, he doesn't. He's in the White House.
well, we are to believe that when Trump left Washington and came to Florida, we are to now believe that that Palm Beach, or wherever Trump lives, is now the U.S. Capitol, and that Trump is running the entire country from here, and that all those National Guardsmen and Marines and the armed forces in D.C., they're just on standby, waiting for Trump to give the order to retake the White House.
Then why?
Oh, really?
The people who stormed the Capitol. Then, like, why would they be arrested if this conspiracy took place?
It's all part of the plan, Alex. Don't question it.
I'd love to talk to one of these Q people about like who actually believes in this.
Don't know, brother, but trust the plan, and
there's a plan in place, man. You gotta trust it.
I mean, honestly, at this point, I am actually amazed at how, like, I'm not even mad at the Q people anymore. Like, I'm genuinely amazed at this point, like, how they can keep this ruse up, and like, they buy their own stuff too. That's the even more amazing part. They literally all believe this this myth that they've concocted.
And it's getting worse. Like we were even talking about, it's like, where does Q go after the election? And it's like it's stuck. It's in limbo. I have an anecdote for this too, because a few days ago, as you guys know, and audience, if you don't know, I worked on the 2020 campaign for Trump, so I have my phone number still in the hands of a lot of Trump voters and Trump volunteers and non-volunteers that said they would do stuff but didn't. And one of those people that does have my number, I don't even remember who he is. He said, "Hi, this is Joe Schmo. Call me back when you get the chance," because I didn't pick it up. I think he called when I was sleeping. And I'm like, I don't recognize this name, but I'll call you back, I mean, he's like, "Yeah, I'm a Trump supporter member from Lancaster. Call me back." Okay. I call him and he's like, "I just wanted to get your thoughts on things because this craziness that's been happening, there's what's really going on, right?" I'm like, "Oh fuck." Whenever you get those people, they're like, "Do you know what's really going on?" Really know. He's like, everything you send to me is all a lie. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I guess, yeah." He's like, "Well, have you seen what's been happening down there? There's a military coup happening." I'm like, it's a little hype. Like, I'm just thinking this because he didn't let me speak, of course. And I eventually had to jump in, but he's like, there's a military coup happening right now, and they're preventing Biden from being the president. That's why they're down there. I'm like, what the fuck? Did you just see the inauguration? Did you see the hand on the book? Did you see him in the Oval Office? Did you see Trump saying that he's leaving and it's over? But he goes further. He said the inauguration's fake. Trump is still president. And he said, did you notice that Biden isn't using Air Force One? I'm like, what? I was like, I think that, and this is why I could speak. I was like, I think that's because it was during the inauguration. That's when Trump was down. The Air Force One was flying Trump to Florida. Like we saw that on TV. So that's why Biden was using a private jet. He's like, he's like, I don't know, man. Yeah, I was like, I think that's gonna switch over. And he's like, no, I don't know. I mean, you can believe that, but that's not what I'm seeing. And then I told him, well, Biden's in office because, like, didn't you see all those executive orders he signed? And he goes, I don't know, man. Those are all fake. They're not on the federal registry. I'm like, really? Maybe there's, I don't know, a little bit of delay. Maybe there's some time. Maybe not everything gets put in there instantly. He's like, it's not there, so it's fake. And I kept going back and forth with this guy for like a good minute because I was trying to like be nice, but he's like, what do you think? I'm like, it's over. It's done. And he's like, no. He's like, he literally thinks Trump is still president. He says it was a fake inauguration. It was a fake executive orders. And he thinks Trump is still president. And he thinks the military, you think the military would let Joe Biden become president? I'm like, I don't think the military has a say in that. I think the American people do, and Congress certifies those results. He goes, Congress doesn't certify the results. Congress doesn't have the final say. You think Congress does, not the military? I'm like, yeah.
Oh my god.
That's it. Then he eventually like gave up. He's like, okay, well, you can see things that way. Goodbye. I was like, bye. Dude, some of these people are so fucking. I'm trying to refrain from using harsh language, but they
Retarded?
really stuck. Yeah.
I
You
mean,
know, if Hollywood was smart, they'd go and hire these cute people to go make movies
dude,
because, like, that's some very good movie material. I think it'd be a good movie.
dude,
Um,
that's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so admittedly, yeah, this is the other thing I've got to give the Q people credit for. If you read the Q stuff, like it's like the best science fiction / like political thriller, like, you know, stuff you will have ever read in a while, right? If you look at it as fiction, it's pretty damn good. But I mean, to think that people actually like legit buy this, and this is the thing, is like I know that obviously there are lots of conservatives that, you know, like us, who think it's retarded, and there are lots of people who don't buy it, right? But there are enough people out there that do buy it that, like, it could seriously, I mean, it's already kind of fucking with, you know, the MAGA movement and whatnot, because everything that we've built, so to speak, over the last, you know, 5 years is slowly being co-opted by, you know, these conspiracy freaks who, you know, and even there are even cute people in Congress. There's that one senator. Let me try and pull up the
I
tweet.
think I'm majority green.
Yeah.
They keep trying to smear her as Q, but I don't really know if she's actually believes that stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm hoping that she doesn't, because everything I've read, like even from some of the more, you know, conservative blogs on our side, have said that she's, you know, that she does believe in Q, and
something tells like she kind of there's something a little off. I think there's something a little off about her. Like whenever I hear her speak like in an interview or something like that, I'm always like, is there something off about her? Like I'm not. What do you guys think, man? Because I'm like, I look. Do you ever listen to somebody and you think like something's just not quite right? You don't want to. I don't think they're nut. I don't think they're really nutty per se, but there's just something that's not like. So
I
there's
haven't really
something a
seen a
little
lot.
off, just a little off.
Oh, I haven't really seen a lot of her. I've seen bits and pieces. I've seen headlines, and she cracks me up. Honestly, I'd have to do a bigger, deeper dig to get a final opinion of her. But
Yeah.
I love that she's pulling out articles of impeachment against Biden. I think that's great. That's fantastic. It's not going to go anywhere. And that's not the point of it. The point is like, okay, you guys can do this. Well, we're going to do it too. I do give her some credit where credit's due. I'd have to see where, how deep she goes into the Q shit.
Well, I
Because
mean,
the media is trying to frame everybody as a Q supporter, as a Q cultist.
And that's what's
And
so annoying.
exactly. And I think
yeah.
Alex Jones was right in this recent video he did where he said the Q has discredited a lot of the true stuff in
Exactly.
Pizzagate and other stuff.
Exactly. Like you bring up like one legit, like, and look, like 10 years ago, I thought Alex Jones was crazy, right? But, and I'm not necessarily even against people questioning their government. By all means, I think people on both sides question the government. I think questioning things is good. But the problem with Q is it takes like, questioning and having like healthy skepticism and, takes it to 100 and two.
It takes those things and shoots them in the ass with steroids. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
It goes off the spectrum. Like it just goes stupid. And I mean, it's a little like I'm not trying to sound like a leftist because this is what the media keeps saying, but like it is a little frightening to see. I mean, I don't think it's that big. I really don't think it's that big. I think it's less than 5% of Republicans, but it's like
Yeah.
doesn't take a lot of stupid people to do something stupid. I mean, it's infuriating. I mean, I'm talking to these people. Like, I literally talked to a guy because he started saying, "Well, you need to look at other sources." I'm like, dude, I fucking do. Okay, I like, what do you think I do? Like, he's like, "Oh, you need to." I listen to like General Flynn and Steve Turley. I'm like, yeah, I know those guys. I follow them on Gab. And then he goes, and also Linwood. Linwood's a great place to start. I was like, "Oh, no." I literally told him, I was like, "Yeah, I looked at him, but when I saw him tweeting some, like, QAnon stuff, I started, like, you know, not looking at him as much." And he didn't comment any of that because I was trying to figure out if he was a Q guy, but he obviously believes there's stupid stuff, but, dude, it's so freaking this is why people call him Q-tards, like, I just don't, like
Well,
get like, how do you think Trump is still president?
yeah, and it's like I even told my neighbor who's into Q. I'm like, look, I would love for Trump to still be president, right? I would love to be able to wake up tomorrow and have this all be a big misunderstanding, but it's not. And the other thing with Q too is when you ask them for like evidence of whatnot, they always go back to, well, just trust the plan, right? At
Oh,
least with Alex Jones, right? If you're skeptical of him, like even when I was skeptical of him, even if you don't necessarily think his sources are legit, at least he fucking provides sources and provides stuff that you can you know um look up. Like he
Yeah,
has
he cites his sources. He has receipts. The cute people have nothing but fortune cookies on the internet.
they have well, they do have documents supposedly, which I've gotten a few of these documents on, in like my email, but they look like stuff that could easily be spoofed in Microsoft Word or something. If you like know how, or like in like a layout,
Bro, you
thing.
gotta send us that shit.
I don't I don't I don't fucking I don't think I have those emails anymore. I deleted them, but like, and that's the other thing. I'm like, when these people were sending me emails, I'm like, really? You're sending me you're sending me documents that are classified to my to an inbox that like forwards to my, that like forwards to my Gmail account. Like, why would you even be sending me these documents over regular email, right?
I know. It's like, and look, I even just posted this in chat. There's a dude at some rally, and he has on the back of his uh high visibility jacket, "Trust the plan" with QAnon. The calm before the storm, I guess. Yeah, calm before the storm. Like, and he's got that cryptic like link thing, that W and those numbers thing. It's a call. It's so freaking weird. WG1WGA, whatever that means.
Wigwa?
WWGA or whatever.
Yeah.
When we go, all is
Yeah, GTA.
WWJD, man.
The fuck? It's so weird. How did they have like? I want somebody to like. We were talking about like papers and theses, but somebody really needs to explore the psychology behind Q.
Well,
'Cause
part. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think part of it is that like it goes on those grains of truth. It's vague enough, like a fortune cookie, that you can put your own answer or meaning into it. But I think it really is. It gives people false hope, and I think the intent of it is to keep people as sheep. That's what the trust the plan thing is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no 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 no, don't worry, don't do anything, just trust the plan, stay home. You don't need to vote. You don't need to be active. You don't need to protest. Stay home, trust the plan. It's false hope used to keep Republicans from doing anything.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I hate to be this guy, but I think I think Q might be a psyop, like a psyop op or something. Because think about it. It's obscure. I mean, it's obscure as fuck. Nobody knew what it even was 5 years ago. Hell, no one even knew what it was like 3 months ago for the most part. And it's been building and built.
Dude, Q's been around for a long time, man. It's like
Yeah.
2017 at least. I remember on 4chan or what, or I think it was 8chan. They still had those threads up there, and then I don't know how it spread to the boomers, but some must have disseminated the forbidden knowledge to the old folks.
It came through Boomer Book.
Yeah,
Like
just
that's what
like
happens. It migrated from 4chan to through Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, but see, it's also like if you think about it this way, like if I were a leftist, QAnon would be the best way possible to basically discredit the right. You know,
It
like
discredits the right, and it also discredits all critical, like the out of the box thinking about the elite, about the Epstein's of the world. Like it discredits all that.
yeah, I mean, remember, yeah, exactly. Remember when remember when like people were questioning, like even normie people were like questioning what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, right? And that's the other thing that annoys me is like Q is supposed to be all about like stopping pedophilia, right? And if and this is the other excuse I love. Well, if you're against pedophilia, then you must be for Q, right?
Oh God.
And it's like, of course I'm for stopping, pedophilia. But the way you stop pedophilia and by busting pedo rings is by giving law enforcement the proper support, and actually like calling the missing, persons hotline and whatnot. Like all these you LARPers that like LARP as like anti-pedo, I bet they're the same people who, don't check the missing persons list or something like that. Like they're too busy LARPing online, to actually like check what's going on with their neighborhood. Like maybe join the neighborhood watch, people do something, other than like post on message boards.
Not everyone has a neighborhood watch,
We
especially after
don't.
that Zimmerman shenango,
Do you guys know who Will Summers is?
Yeah.
He's writing a book on Q.
Oh,
Oh god. Fucking academics making books on Q. It was gonna happen eventually. Fucking academics, man. They
Will
invade
Summer though is a far left. Hmm? I think we're on a
academics
really
invade,
bad delay.
academics invade everything, man. They make everything seem like shit.
Yeah, well, he's not really an academic. He's a far lefty journo. I think he works for Daily Beast, and he's known for, I think, allegedly, I'd have to check laws. I think doxing some conservatives, feeding stuff to Antifa. Like he's a pretty scummy guy. Gavin McGinnis did a hilarious roast of him at CPAC, the one I was at. I think I can still find the video. It's somewhere, but it's so funny. But he like how he fucking roasted him. But that's funny. I'd have to. I might his book might actually have some freaking merit to it. I mean, he's a total piece of shit, but like, oh, that's funny. It's like the one thing I might honestly have some agreeability on with the left is fucking Q. But they take it they take it to an extreme where they think we all are freaking cute people if we question the government or question the elite. But I won't dwindle on Q too much unless you guys want to, but we'll probably close our stream on our end at around
Hey,
midnight, maybe a few minutes after.
yeah, did we ever gonna go over that stuff with the five best things Trump did and whatnot, or you're not doing that?
Yeah, sure. We could
yeah.
all do that. We can do.
Let's do that. Are you guys free to stay on for the Whitfield report, or do you guys have other stuff you've got to do?
We might be able to, because I know Phil and I were going to discuss some interesting developments that I think we might be able to tell you, Sam. I'd have to check with Phil, but it's something that we need to discuss off air for now. But we'll do the Trump segment real quick, and we can each go say 5 things we liked, 5 things we didn't like, or the 5 best things, whatever you want to call it. Um, I'll start with myself though. Let's see. 5 things I loved about Daddy Trump. The wall, of course. He did build 500 miles. Yes, people go like, oh, it's mostly repairs, but it was in places where there was like no wall, so it freaking counts. It's progress. It stopped a lot. Immigration was cut 50%. So I think the immigration in general, one of the things I loved, he did the best he can on that, given all the roadblocks he had with Congress, screwing him over. Wish could have done more, but best he could. Number two, I'd have to say, I'll throw in the Space Force. I know it's a meme. I know it's very American, but I think it's awesome. It's future thinking. It's legacy, legendary stuff, and I think it's one of the things he'll be remembered for down the road. Number 3, I'd probably say the economy. One of the best economies we've ever had, sadly. COVID killed it. Number 4, I'd have to say I guess you could say I'll say North Korea because there's some historic breakthroughs with me with Kim Jong Un, really cool stuff with that we hadn't seen before. And number 5, I'd probably say is his bashing of the media and his, I'd say, modern presidential anti-PC attitude, using Twitter, the combativeness with the press, giving them shit. Loved it. I loved it so much. I know it's not a policy thing, but it's such a important and effective cultural, social force of destroying the credibility of the media. That's fantastic. Those are just 5 I can think of off the top of my head I really love. There's probably a lot more that I'm forgetting. I might find better stuff. We'll do a reevaluation next week. But things I didn't like, um, I'd have to say, like, I guess his picks in his cabinet was probably the biggest problems I had. There were a lot that just were bad picks or didn't make sense or didn't work out. And I understand it's hard to hire people. He's an outsider, but I wish he could have fixed that a bit sooner. But I like my dislikes are things I understand, but I kind of wish could have gone better. Another dislike I say is his last minute pardons. I wish he could have done some more ballsier stuff. That would have been cooler. Like an Assange or Snowden pardon, even though they probably really wouldn't mean a whole lot in all practicality, but it'd be a good middle finger to the establishment. Number 3, I'd have to say, God, it's getting harder, honestly, because I really don't have any big gripes. Like, I know a lot of people didn't like the bump stock thing, but I really don't care about that. I guess I could say, I guess the tech censorship, but even that really needs to happen through Congress, and Congress wasn't behaving. I wish maybe he could have treated more of Congress, but I don't fucking know what he could have done because Congress ain't gonna do shit. So I guess that's my number 3. Number 4, I guess I'd say his early messaging with COVID could have been better, and the communication with COVID at the beginning could have been better, even though I think the actions were great. And number 5, God, it's getting harder. Um, I'm struggling. I'm not gonna lie. I can't think of a fucking 5th one. Um, what are some of the things we were talking about before, Alex, that we may not have liked? I seem to agree
Um,
on.
what about that last executive order he did?
Oh yeah, where he reversed the lobbying thing, the lobbying ban. I still don't understand that. The only thing I think of is that his people probably trying or struggling to find jobs, and that's why he did it. But it goes against what he was saying, and it was one of the things I really liked. So I- I'd put that one on there. I really was disappointed in seeing that. How about you, Alex? I tried my best there.
Yeah, things I liked. That tax cut that he did that gave me $1,000 in my pocket. I liked the transparency with medical companies. I think that was a very good move from him. You know, what else was there? Yeah, it got Wall. Like Wall was all right, but I don't know if I put that up on number 3. But definitely, like he actually talked about like limiting like H1Bs, and he like worked on that, which I feel honestly is something very important people don't think about. Like I've seen a lot of companies like you have the witch companies like Infosys, Tata, all these like Indian out like sourcing companies that'll abuse the H1B system. And I feel that by putting some stuff in there to limit that was great because that's affecting our tech sector, and these companies, they manipulate stuff like that. Number 4 of the good things that Trump did, I would definitely say, like seeing now, like that stuff with the limiting the prices of like the excess prices for the
Insulin.
yeah, the insulin. Like that was great. That's and then that's the one thing which I wouldn't think that fucking Biden would go to lemonade, but he did to make him look like shit. I mean, it's getting people pissed off. And five, I would say his like the whole sort of you know cultural stuff that he's done. Like he's been in support of a lot of people who like conservatives and stuff like the couple who had their house attacked by Black Lives Matter activists, like where they're going out in this lawn. Like he supported those people, and a lot of people were just condemning it and just praising Black Lives Matter, but he was, he could see through it that it was a political ploy. Now, on the other hand, like I'd say, probably the number one thing that I thought was just stupid and got him no benefit was that bump stock ban. That and then like I kind of lump it in there with the like that's he was talking about like limiting or getting rid of suppressors. That is beyond stupid. When you basically attack your own base, you're not making friends with people on the right. You're hurting your diehard supporters. And he's also not like the leftists aren't just like, oh, Trump's all right. He did this and that. No, that's not going to win you any friends on the left. That was a stupid decision. It hurt him in the long run. It got a lot of people who support him, who are very pro-gun, to go, maybe not vote at all or vote for a third party. I think that was beyond stupid. Second thing that I really didn't like was his the last thing he did with align the lobbyists. He made that rule and then he just gets rid of it on his last day. Like I didn't see an explanation from him. I've heard no good explanation. I don't know why he would do that. That goes against a lot of stuff that he was talking about during the slump and stopping the lobbyists. I think that was terrible. Number three, I would say would be not raising the alarm more before the election happened. He knew there was going to be fraud involved. I think he could have done more to prevent it before it happened. And I think by waiting till after to go and do all these lawsuits, that wasn't the way to do it. You do your stuff beforehand, like especially in PA when you knew that they were sending in double ballots. Get your Department of Justice to investigate it, and then kind of going along with that was some of the people that he hired. I think he had a lot of swamp beasts in there, and it seems like he just kept hiring and firing people, which to me, that's not a good look. Like there's a lot of people who helped him on the campaign trail, and that like they were enamored by him and would go and like go through hell for Trump. And and then like Bannon especially, like I think that was a terrible decision to fire him. He's probably one of his like greatest supporters out there. He was probably more he helped steer the MAGA movement before, like he was essential. I feel that when he got rid of him, a bit of that killed a lot of the magic. Like after that, he seemed like he's started almost transforming like afterwards. He wasn't the same after ban as he was before, like in the Trump that I voted for. To a certain degree, it seems like maybe the swamp got to him. He came in with the best of intentions, and I think he's still better than any other president in my lifetime, at least. But I feel like the Trump of 2016 and the Trump of like 2019 were two different beasts. I feel like a lot of that got sort of lost in translation. I think, what was that, 3?
I think that was 3 or 4. You said bump stocks, the executive order reversal,
And then there was
and
hiring,
what else?
like the hiring stuff.
Oh yeah, the hirings, yeah.
Hirings and firings. Well, for 4, I would say the fact that with the
Net neutrality.
yeah, net neutrality, that was beyond like, I don't know why he went against that. That was not a good hill to die on. And that he should have, instead of promoting getting rid of net neutrality and with that Ajit Pai guy, he could have promoted expanding it to conservatives, and that would have been, maybe don't even word it like that. Just say, for these big content providers, like, hey, you can't discriminate against people based off of like, your political viewpoints. I think getting rid of that really bit him, like, it really hit him in the ass, because he got rid of a lot of that stuff, a lot of those protections from there. I don't know how much that would actually affect him, but if he would have went for expanding it, I think that would have been better. And then five, I think he underestimated China a lot, especially earlier on. That should have been the main focus for a long time. He had his like little trade war later on, but by that point, the election was very soon, and you know what happened with that. So I think if he would have paid more attention to China and made his foreign policy about that, I think, and definitely took a stand, a more strong stand. Like once he saw the Uyghur Muslim stuff start to go on, I think that would have been good for him. I honestly do. So that would be my 5 and 5.
All right. Well, actually, one thing I forgot to add is overall, because I know you kind of hit at this, I would rate Trump as not just the best president of my lifetime, but one of the best of all time. Definitely one of the best Republican ones, better than Reagan. How would you rate him
Oh,
in terms of presidents?
I think Reagan. Reagan was terrible. I think he was terrible in a lot of ways. Like he did that Dream Act, and because of that, and he didn't fix the actual underlying problems. We still have that today. He had the Hughes Amendment, which basically made so only the rich can purchase fully automatic weapons in the United States. I really don't see why there's this like cult of Reagan. I think Trump's definitely the best of our lifetime, probably the only real conservative, especially cultural conservative, I can really think of, maybe since Lincoln, or not Lincoln, Nixon.
Jackson. Oh, Nixon, yeah.
Yeah, like he's like, Nixon is probably like the last real conservative, but Trump, he's better than him, definitely. I mean, Trump actually survived at least his first impeachment. We'll see what happens with the second one. I think he'll be fine. Even then, he's already a civilian, so what the hell does it matter, anyways?
So would you say he's the best Republican president?
At least in recent times. I mean, there's definitely some things I think he fumbled. I think he's not this god emperor that a lot of people thought he was when he came into office. I think the office, maybe it changed him. Maybe some things happened. I think he was great. He's better than Reagan, but I feel that there was still a lot of stuff that I was kind of confused about what they did more of. And the fact they did a lot of stuff through executive order, I don't like that. I think it sets a bad precedent. I
I
mean,
actually like that in the sense that he actually was able to do something. What I didn't like is that it wasn't permanent, it wasn't long term. I'll just say this real quick before we go to you, Sam, is that I think he did mostly really great stuff. Not perfect, but frankly, if he was perfect, there's probably going to be something wrong with him because most politicians, most presidents are perfectly corrupt, perfectly evil, or perfectly against what we believe in. When you think about it, I'm not making this as an excuse for anybody to interpret it this way, but the flaws in him show to me that for better or worse, he listens to advice, he listens to all viewpoints, he's not narrow minded, he's open minded, and he's human. I mean, it's a hard job. I know what it's like to be in leadership positions and you do some people don't like. And there are things I think, like the bump stock thing, I get in the time why he did it. At the same time, though, it doesn't win him any votes. Did it lose him votes? I personally don't think so. I don't, and if it did, I don't think it was um, significant. I think it could be a handful of goofy libertarians, but I really don't think that was what people were going to vote on November 3rd with COVID uh, everywhere and then wearing a mask. I don't think bump stocks were the thing. They were like, shit, I'm not going to vote for Trump. I really don't believe that. But yeah, it'd be interesting to find out what the effect really was that. But with China, I think he's done amazing with China, with the tariffs, with bringing jobs back and putting them in their place. But it's a short term thing. Like if he had 2 terms, I think that's the other thing to consider. If he had 2 terms, really could have put a dent in China. But China was hoping Biden would win, and he did. So China's playing the long game. And if he had a more cooperative Congress, I think his presidency would have been way more historic, way more cementing. I mean, I still think it's historic. I still think he did a lot of things that have huge long-term impacts, like USMCA and pulling troops out of these countries and stabilizing things with North Korea. But if he had a cooperative Congress, could have had massive changes to immigration, massive changes to big tech. And we did have some big changes to immigration, like really big changes, but the Raise Act still wasn't fucking passed. It was like such a basic thing, like English is the native language. You know, more wall, all this good stuff, merit-based immigration didn't get through. So, how about you, Sam?
Well, I'm surprised no one has brought this up, but probably the number one thing that I love most about Trump is how he handled the media and just totally dealt with them, and the fact that he lifted the veil on just like how corrupt Washington really is. Like, even if you didn't like him, you have to admit that, like, even if you didn't like him, he unveiled so much shit on just how most of Washington was that, like, nobody likes it. And you can already see the media is trying to do damage control, like, oh, now that Biden's in power, the government is working again, but people aren't buying it. So like, just the way he handled the media, just uncensored that way, is probably my number one thing. Number two thing, he fucking got rid of ISIS pretty much
Yeah, that's true.
in his first, you know,
His first year.
yeah, in his first year. And I know, say what you will about, General Mattis, but you know, he was
That guy's become a real cuck.
he was he has at the time he was well hold on though, I want to say that Mattis has become maybe politically he has, but I mean Mattis is not a political guy. He's a guy that you go and basically, Mattis is a weapon. You point him in a direction and tell him to go kill, and he does that, and that's what Trump had him do. So at the time, he was the right man for the job. So I've got to give him credit for that. Third, Trump did wonders with making the healthcare companies more transparent, similar to what Alex was saying. And then number four, the border wall, like you were saying, that was great. And then number five was the fact that he really reunited the conservative movement again, and really that in and of itself is a huge accomplishment. As far as things I don't like, I will admit that, well, while I like the fact that he was, unapologetic towards the media, I wish he had been a little bit more eloquent at times, and kind of dialed back the, it seemed like he was always in campaign mode, and, you know, it was funny. There were some moments where I was kind of like, come on, Don, you can't turn it off for like 5 minutes. Um, and then number two was the bump stocks thing, and I'm not like a huge gun guy either, Sean, but just the fact that he did it kind of annoyed me. Um, Number three was the fact that I feel like that he could have done a better job, maybe in like, you know, like he had to have seen the January 6th, you know, riots coming, and I feel like he let himself get blindsided by that a little more. And then number four, as far as things I don't like, it's pretty tough. But I would have to say like letting Jared Kushner in the White House, and you know, just that level of nepotism, I don't know, kind of seems shady. So, and that's all I've got for
Yeah,
things I don't like.
with Kushner, I know this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, but I'm not the biggest hater.
Oh, I forgot
I
about him. Oh yeah, man. Everything negative, that's just all Kushner. Just blame it
well
on.
see, I that's the thing. Like you hear some things come out where Kushner's supposed to be push this and that, but like I don't buy the idea that everything bad to come out of the White House was Kushner. Like to me, that makes no sense. And he did do those peace deals, which helped stabilize things in the Middle East. Less involvement, less troops. Like that shit's important. Those were historic peace deals that simmer things down. We don't have to be fucking like fighting there more. So, it's less conflict, less chance of nemesis. I like what he did for that, but at the same time, I've heard some shady stuff with like taking campaign money. So I, I'm very mixed on Kushner. I'm not a hater. I'm definitely not a lover, but he definitely is a talented guy with ability. But I don't know. I don't think he had all the same intentions Trump did.
No.
And I think a lot of the bad things really the bad things that weren't executive orders or things he said, 9 times out of 10, it's the fall of Congress. And I think Republicans are making a big mistake when they blame Trump for not doing X, not doing Y, when all those things can only be done through Congress. You need to put the blame at Congress. And I think that's the big mistake some of these more contrarians are making, saying, oh, Trump didn't build the wall. Trump didn't crack down big tech. I'm like, uh, what can you do about big tech? Like, what can the president do with his powers about big tech? I don't get an
Yeah.
answer because most people don't know. I don't know. The one I do know is that he really has limited power.
Well, and then the thing of it is too, on that subject, do you really want the president doing anything with big tech? Because, you know, and I know, you know, obviously the gut reaction is to say yes, you know, under Trump, but then it's like that's setting a dangerous precedent then, because then the executive office can do anything with it. So yeah,
Right.
the big tech situation, like, and that is where I give the kind of the libertarians credit. I don't like giving them credit for much, but I will admit that, you know, government intervention in big tech, it is a slippery slope. No one can deny that. And so, you know,
Hmm.
like it's a clusterfuck.
Yeah, and I think too is the other thing people gotta keep in mind too with a lot of these, especially these authoritarian right people, is I tend to feel the way they do is like once you're in power, it's like use as much as you can, get as much as you can. But you need to be careful because if you do it too much and start transferring more power to the executive branch, look, we just lost. You're giving that power to the other side at some point. It's only a matter of time. This time it was only 4 years. So, you know, you gotta be really careful of that, because then the other president can do a lot more damaging things to you because of that. So it's a tricky balance, hard balance, but you gotta find it. You gotta deal with it, and we gotta get a more cooperative Congress. I think that's the biggest lesson coming out of this is the midterms are gonna be more critical than ever. You gotta get cooperative Congress. That's actually MAGA, and actually America first. Not just tooting the horn, but they'll actually do it, because that I think is where we the voters, we the supporters failed Trump. Is we didn't go out there, we didn't get MAGA America first candidates elected in 18 and sweep the House and actually get some of the things Paul Ryan couldn't get done, because he's Paul Ryan, he's establishment, he's Mitt Romney's butt buddy. Like, this is where the MAGA troopers need to really reassess things. If we want to get DeSantis in, we want him to do stuff, you need to fix the Congress. I just can't emphasize that enough, because it's basic civics. They make the laws, the executive branch enforces the laws. The president can't just go, oh, I'm gonna, make Facebook and Twitter public utilities. He can't do that. If he could, he probably would have, you know. Or the president can't just go, well, I'm just gonna, make English the native language. I'm just going to, uh, you know, make it a merit-based immigration system. He can't do that. Even with the wall thing, he couldn't just go on day one and be like, I'm declaring a national emergency and we're building the wall by rediverting funds. He had to go through a government shutdown, no bills, to justify doing that without getting so much shit thrown at him. And even that got dragged through the courts. And it was finally able to be done. Like, the amount of checks and balances on our system is great, but it also needs to, for people that want to do shit, need to realize there's a lot of roadblocks. The shit just doesn't get done. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
my rant.
look, the other big problem, and again, I hate to go back to Q, although this isn't necessarily a Q specific rant, but I feel like in general, one of the big problems we had, a big problem that we had was the overconfidence that Trump was going to win re-election, right? Like I don't want to say I don't want to be one of those people that says I told you so, but like there were people who were like, "Oh, Trump's got this in the bag." Like, you know, Joe Biden, who's going to vote for Joe Biden? And granted, there was a lot of fraud, but I also definitely feel like maybe Trump supporters were a little more overconfident than they should have been. I don't know. There wasn't that same level of like we've got to win this like there was in 2016. Like in 2016, like people were determined to vote for Trump. Like people were getting out there. Like you could feel like the energy, like almost like a desperate energy, but like in a good way. And yeah, there were the MAGA rallies, but I didn't feel like we had the win at all costs attitude like we did back in 16, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. There was some complacency, and I still don't think that's why we lost, but we need to be careful of that, because that's how you can lose.
Definitely.
I don't think Phil's here, but we'll have his 2 cents next time. And I guess we'll stay on, because I can't talk off air about with Phil if he's not here. But is there anything else you guys want to talk about or do?
Well, if you guys want to, you guys don't have to stay on the Versus stream, but I certainly have some topics I want to, bring up. Just namely, first off, for the Whitfield report, Biden is president, and it sucks. Did you watch the inauguration?
Nope.
Me either.
I just saw the one part where that little girl's giving like saying this poem. It was some like wishy washy shit.
The only thing I saw were the and I didn't even see it live until like it became a thing, but I started seeing Bernie memes. I started seeing like the Bernie sitting in the chair memes, and I'm like, what is this? And so I had to go back and look at that. Um,
Yeah,
and
those were funny.
yeah, I mean, honestly, like Biden's already, screwing up big time. Like basically moving like the armed forces like off already, but he's still keeping them there too. And what's that all about? Like that gives me a bad feeling that they're still there.
Yeah, there's gonna be thousands. We were talking about this. There's supposed to be gonna be thousands of troops still in DC till mid March.
Yeah, that's something doesn't smell right.
Yeah, it's really weird, honestly. And Phil was saying this comes right down to the mayor of DC who makes these decisions.
Well, also, I mean, DC wants to apply for basically like statehood, which in my opinion is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna push for that. I think they're gonna try. I don't know how much traction it'll gain, but they're gonna try to make DC or Puerto Rico stay. Probably Puerto Rico is what they'll push for first. And American Samoa. I could see them doing that. Um, but was there anything else you wanted to talk about, Alex? Because I know you were posting stuff in the news channel.
Let me go and take a look. What did we got over there? Former ADT employees admits he watched customers have sex for years through their cameras. So that's a little bit awkward.
I
Lovely.
I feel like I've seen that story before though. Like I feel like every few years there's always like a story like that, like some pervy security, you know, person watches people having sex.
Yeah, this is for like ADT home security systems, so that's a little bit awkward. The new. Do we talk about the two mask new standard that they're making because of our little gay boy failed presidential candidate decided to go and wear two masks, and now people want that to be the new thing. You read?
Oh, is that because of Booty Judge?
Oh,
Yeah, booty touch.
oh fuck no. It's hard enough to breathe with one of those things on, and I'm sorry, I know Jeff the liberal will say it's not that tough, but trust me, it is.
For me, like the first, I'd say like well, when we were when it started, it's like March, April, May. I was like the first few months, like guys grow up. This isn't a big deal. Like, I mean, Jesus, if all the hills considered dying on, it's wearing a mask. At this point, how many what a year later? Now it's starting to annoy me, and I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
this is gay shit.
Oh, it was like in the same article I saw another one, a link to another article that says, "Is mask slipping the new man spreading?" So
Dude, I see on women. They
if
slip their mask all the time.
if that's the case, then guilty. I'm guilty as fuck of it. Like I like if I'm like in a super crowded area, like yeah, I'll wear it then. But if I'm in my neighborhood, I don't even wear one. Um, so like uh yeah, it's
Yeah, and the other thing too about the double masks, I'm seeing Booty Judge is wearing it could be an N95, but he's wearing a surgical or N95 and a cloth over. If you're wearing an N95, you don't need a freaking cloth mask over it.
Yeah,
That's just some like elitist virtue signaling right there. It's like, yeah.
at that point, why don't you just wear like an actual gas mask? Because it's gonna be more. It's probably more effective than these, consumer quality masks, and you don't have to worry about like doubling or tripling up your masks because it has fucking filters.
Yeah, it's like, oh, look at me with my 2 masks. I can afford more masks than you. It's just so stupid. And look, like I hate when people say like, well, why don't you just wear a mask? They clearly work. It's like, look, dude, the N95s work. Totally agree with you. But most people aren't wearing those. Most people are wearing cloth masks, which are the worst. The surgical ones, I think, are like decent, and there's a lot of people wearing those, but I question how effective they really are if you don't have COVID. That's what we were first told, and obviously we learn a lot more. But I think that still holds mostly true that the masks are really effective with stopping the spread if you have it. If you don't have it, does wearing it help? Kind of, but like if somebody sneezes and it goes in your eyes, you're infected.
Yeah,
Okay.
see, we should just be wearing gas masks. Like honestly, that'll
Yes.
prevent your eyes, that'll prevent your ears, that'll prevent your mouth, your nose. Like it seems like it's if you're gonna be wearing any masks, gas mask is probably the one to wear.
Hey,
Yes. Wear a
hey,
gas mask.
hey, Sonny, welcome to the, chat. And also, hello, Alan, and hello, so we are finally getting some people in here, and, sorry about my meltdown earlier. Like I said, though, YouTube is being a, YouTube is being a bit of a C word this evening.
Oh, speaking of YouTube in our chat, Radio Freedom says, "Where is the cue balls ever moving goalpost at right now, bruh? It's in Crazyville. It's in we're talking about a bit earlier where they were thinking that it's from Face Off where Biden's not the real president, it's actually Trump, and the inauguration was fake, the executive orders were all fake, and trust the plan." He also says COVID didn't kill the economy, the Democrats did. Yeah, pretty much. That's true. Um,
Yeah, yeah, Sonny, you missed kind of the beginning of the broadcast because we were talking about like all of these different people who involved with Q who still think Trump is like somehow president, either through the whole like you know he's secretly like wearing a body, like a Biden body suit and mask, or like I heard some Q person say that he's running the government from Florida, and just all this stuff. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Also, Sean, do you have an announcement that you want to make regarding a certain thing that you got?
was this something I told you before?
Yeah.
I know what you're thinking
Mm-hmm.
of. Okay. Yes, Sam is a lucky boy because he is going to be receiving um a little delayed initially Christmas present, but now slightly delayed birthday present of a fabulous t-shirt that will attract ladies from all across campus. And he will be opening it live. He will be trying it on live, and you will all see it on him, and you will all love it and adore it. So you'll see shirtless Sam. Ladies, get ready. You'll see shirtless Sam for a few minutes, and then you'll see him in his new t-shirt. So stay tuned for when that arrives. It'll probably be coming in this coming week. So buckle up, buckaroos.
And also, in terms of announcements, real quick, Sean, I don't even know if you know this, but my 15 Holy crap. And yeah, I'm coming up on the big 1-5, I think. On March 25th, so we still have a ways off, but not too much. I will be celebrating 15 years of podcasting. I think
Nice.
still relatively technically I've only had the technically like I've only had this YouTube channel for like 2 years, but if I'm including my entire podcasting career, it's been 15. So hopefully in about 5 more years, if I'm still on YouTube, if Mommy Susan hasn't kicked me off before then, I'll be monetized.
Yeah, you go. I hope you do get monetized. I know we're far away from that, and it's a tough one to get, especially now. You get hardly anything like you used to.
Yeah. Oh, another story. I think I posted this in Versa in the news section, but basically the Fire Gina Carano hashtag is trending again.
Yep. Well, apparently, and I'm not sure. Like the intent of it is sounds to be a little all over the place, but she was recently pulled from a post or something they had where they swapped her out with Ahsoka. They claim it's because it's a new popular character, but some people speculate that's not really the intent.
Well, so there are a few things that are going on from what I heard. Part of it has to do with the fact that there's this new series coming out on Disney Plus called Star Wars: The High Republic, which is essentially, as near as everyone can tell, is just like it's supposed to be set like before the it's supposed to be set like 200 years before like A New Hope, so before the prequel joined and all that. But
And before the Old Republic, I think.
it's nah, it's like a bit after the Old Republic era, but like before the prequel era. So like,
Yeah, I think that's actually it.
but basically every single reviewer I've basically like every comic guy I follow basically says it's basically like peak SJW in Star Wars. The point where
Yeah.
like it makes the sequel trilogy look based, which
Yeah.
is a joke. So, um, so there were some critics that were basically like tweeting out criticizing the High Republic book that has just come out for being too, SJW. And so Disney sent out this tweet saying that like it's wrong that people are harassing, this author, and
Mhm.
Lucasfilm stands for diversity and inclusion. So in fact, let me pull up my tweet from earlier, because I think you guys we talked about this on one of your shows from a while back. So
And also Pozo was getting in this beef. I was posting some articles. I think it was specifically, I think it was about some of the um black supremacist stuff this person said and anti-white stuff, and Pozo's
oh
getting into
yeah,
like a
yeah.
beef all Star Wars fans.
Okay, so let me see.
Yeah, the
Okay,
tweet was our Star Wars community is one of hope and inclusivity. We do not stand for the bullying and racism. We support Christina Aurelia or Ariella. Sorry.
yeah, and that's the one who I guess has written the book and who has also written this entire new Republic series. So then I went on Twitter, and I quote tweeted that this morning, and I said, so please explain how erasing John Boyega from Chinese marketing is okay. Letting the cancel culture mob go after at Gina Carano, and keeping Pablo Hidalgo on board after he publicly mocked Star Wars Theory on Twitter for having an emotional reaction to Luke Skywalker. How is any of this inclusive? So, yeah, that's my take. And I guess they also forgot James Earl Jones's birthday. He celebrated a birthday recently, and Lucasfilm said nothing about that. So, yeah, they're really inclusive.
Yeah, I know. It's so ridiculous. And they were, that Pablo guy is a real jerk on Twitter, and it's extremely hypocritical. So, you know what? You guys are gonna get the hate you deserve for this High Republic comic, shit show, and then the show that adopts it too. They're gonna get a lot of hate for it. It's
The
apparently, like you said, worse than the sequels.
the Mandalorian is really it's really the only thing keeping uh like Star Wars relevant right now. And I mean, I hate to say it as a lifelong Star Wars fan, but like a lot of people, I'm starting to lose interest in the franchise outside of Mandalorian.
Oh, absolutely. Same with me.
It's just sad.
We gotta get Alex to watch that Rise of Skywalker together.
No, well, if we do, we all need to do it drunk, or we need to like.
How Sean is.
Yeah,
Well,
I can't participate in that.
okay, okay. Well, can we get you high or some? Because
That's a story for another day.
because
No, I've never been high for anybody
because
else.
Sean, like, forcing you to watch like the Rise of Skywalker sober, that just seems like you're my friend, and I don't want to be cruel to you.
And put
So
me under that torch.
I wouldn't even make Apex watch that sober. So
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, I have the Disney Plus one of these nights.
we
Alex and I, we got to do a Discord stream and subject ourselves to that monstrosity.
will count will count me in. I'm all for that. So
Oh, you can hop in too, and you'll have kind of the same experience I will with Last Jedi, which is like you think it's bad the first time, and then you watch it again, and you find more things wrong with it, and you realize it's even worse. Like there's just like this one stupid thing. Like, this isn't a spoiler, but it does this one really stupid thing where they get this knife and it matches up with a particular thing, like the pattern of it, something that's been destroyed, and there's a wreckage of it. It's the most preposterous thing, like preposterous, and it's made the cut into this movie.
Yee.
Sam's still alive.
yeah, I'm still here.
All right.
Um,
I'm letting you run things now since the Whitfield report's on.
yeah, I mean, so basically, I mean, where do you think we? My question is for you, though, Sean. Where do we go from here as far as as far as the Republican Party, as far as the culture war? Where do you see us going from here? Because like I've been trying to think about that. I've been kind of looking at my show notes on my phone, and here it is, like almost 1 in the morning, and I'm still like I try and be the optimistic guy, but honestly, I am kind of coming up with blanks other than to just laugh my ass off at everything that happens
Mm.
for the next 4 years.
Well, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I think it's a good way. That'll close out our stream too. To go full circle is that the future is more Trump, more nationalism, more populism, more Trumpism. I think people, we got what we wanted in 16. Trump mostly delivered, given all the circumstance. Like, I was even just reading through the border wall Wikipedia page, and the amount of times he got stopped and blocked from the day he stepped in office and signed executive order to build the wall till now with almost 500 miles of wall. It's remarkable he got as much done as he did, like trying to go around them in every way possible. But people love what they got and they want more. They're hungry for more populism. And the future is more nationalism, more populism. Like, it's going to go up. People want more of it, probably even some more extreme forms of it, especially after the 4 years we're going to experience now. So, really, and I've said this a million times, I'm going to keep saying it till it actually happens. You got to fix the Congress. You got to primary the rhinos with America First, MAGA populist candidates. Got to get them out. That is the most important thing we need to do now is in those midterms is get these people out. I know Raheem Kassam at National Pulse with Steve Bannon is working on something that we've talked about, which is making a list of all of these establishment rhinos, naming them, shaming them, exposing them to get them out. And that's what we need to do. Like, Mitch McConnell needs to get primaried. That guy's a traitor. He's a big, massive traitor to the party. He needs to be removed. He's a disgrace. We need to be more aggressive. We need to organize better. We need to be smarter. I'm going to be doing stuff on my own with the help of friends and working with other people. Like, I'm going to be working on this Uncensored America organization that hopefully, when it's all said and done, has speaking events with when COVID's gone and exciting events that are free speech, that are bringing back the voices that we want to hear, that people want to hear, and bring back sort of that populist culture war on colleges. I'm doing something. I hope everybody else is going to be doing something. I know it's going to be scary times because we're going to be purged, we're going to be censored, we're going to be, um, what's the fucking term? Persecuted like never before. But I understand a lot of people are going to have to keep their heads low, but you can still share shit. You can still email stuff, post stuff on Facebook, Twitter, share with your friends. You need to keep them informed because it's an information warfare. I mean, it's not physical warfare is stupid, okay? It's to think that we're going to be heading towards a civil war. Anything physical is a fantasy. You need to get out of it and focus on the information warfare. That thing at the Capitol, yeah, it accelerated the information warfare. And maybe there is a time and a place for physical confrontations, but like, let's be real, getting involved that stuff's going to get you killed or locked up or poor for life and bankrupt.
Yeah.
So focus on the information warfare to get rid of the cucks, pretty much. Purge the cucks with information warfare. That's my message. And everybody can do it. There's no excuse you can't do it. So we got to get up. We're strong. We can do this. And just soldier forward.
Yeah,
And use alternatives.
sounds good. And also, look, I know that, people are saying that Gab is the go-to place right now, but also I would highly encourage people to check out Minds as well. I just verified my channel over there. And
Yeah, get on everything. Get on Telegram, get on Signal, get on Gab, get on Minds, whatever's out there, get on it, get familiar with it, build your audiences if you're a public figure. And if you're just an ordinary Joe, like, one of the best ways you can help is campaigning. MAGA, America First candidate local or at your state level, go door knocking for them. Like, get out the vote. We kind of do stuff. I love what Scott Presler says, which is stop talking, start doing. And that's the attitude we need to have because that's what we did in 16. And we overcome the most immense odds, I think, in any campaign ever. I'm I was when we won in 16, the day after. I really wasn't that shocked. I mean, it was surreal. I was loving it, but I thought it was going to happen. Looking back, seeing all the barriers we have, I'm more amazed today that we won up against all that.
Yep, I am too. Real quick in the chat, to Warfist 1984 who says I'm late as fuck. Don't worry, Warfist, you're really not that late because I started late because YouTube decided to keep me from going live at 10 like I was supposed to. But I also guess the fights are on tonight, so that's why Apex didn't show up, because he's watching the stream, or he's watching the McGregor fights. I don't know.
Not to change the subject, because if you want to add some of this, you can. But one other thing I was going to mention is that Larry King passed away today, or
Oh,
technically yesterday.
oh yeah, that's actually in my show notes too. Well, I mean, it's. what else can you say? Like him or hate him, he was an icon, and this is going to sound terrible, but he's actually younger than I thought he was. He was 87. I thought he was like in his 90s for some reason.
Yeah, definitely. I was just checking the thing. I know I'm changing subjects again, but when Trump did his farewell speech, he now is playing his typical like Trump rally music, but I forget which song he played when he was coming on the stage. But when he was flying away, he had blasting on the speakers "My Way" by Frank Sinatra.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Fucking amazing.
I like My Way is one of those songs that like gets me emotional anyway, just because it's like one of those songs that does. Like it's the one guy song for guys that like will make like, the manliest man feel emotions, right? And then, just like I saw a kind of a commercial or like a video that someone put together of basically like a montage of Trump's 4 years in office with
Yeah, I've seen
My
that.
Way. And
Yep.
I have to admit, I may or may not have choked up. I might not have, because I'm a tough guy. But
Yeah, it's the feels.
even tough guys have to have feels sometimes. So
Oh no, I saw that video. I remember watching that during the campaign. It was like a great reminder as to why I love the guy, why I love the movement, why I love the ideas, and why I love what we're doing, why I'm doing what I've been doing. And it's awesome. And he also played that song during his inaugural ball with Melania when they were dancing. That was the song he picked.
yeah.
Fucking perfect. And I've always liked that song, but I've grown to really love it. It's a beautiful song.
Well,
Definitely Frank's one of his best.
and Frank was friends with Reagan too.
I saw something when I was Googling this, but I don't know if it's true. Apparently Frank Sinatra hated Trump.
I've heard that, but then like I've also heard in recent years that, like, Hugh Hefner supposedly hated Trump, even though there are like literal photos of like Trump at the Playboy Mansion, and like them shaking hands and being like all buddy buddy. So like I don't know,
Yeah.
because like they're all these celebrities who are like, well, I hate Trump, and it's like you go back 20 years and you can find a photo of him at like some dinner party or something, and they're they're chumming, they're like clearly friends or something. I mean, and Trump is another perfect example of you find out who your real friends are pretty fast, right? Because like before Trump entered politics, like when he back when he was just a celebrity, like everybody loved the guy, right? Like, yeah, he was a little goofy, but like no one, like, just the whole Trump derangement syndrome wasn't a thing. God.
Well, and I'll just this a bit, and it comes from Nancy Sinatra, Frank's daughter. She does hate Trump publicly, and she claims her father did too. So that's where the claim's coming from.
Yeah, well, same with Cooper Hefner and his father. It's like, you know, it's like unless it comes from, the person themselves, I don't buy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's wonky shit. But yeah, so that's where I think the movement is though, and I think it's only going to get bigger and more ferocious and more powerful and more aggressive. I mean, ferocious in like a positive way. I mean, it's going to just get more feisty and people are going to be more eager to fight because once you have something and when you lose it for a bit, it's like you get more amped up to fight. And I, I'll be honest, 2024 is going to be a weird election. Kind of like how the Democrats really didn't know who they were gonna put up for 2020. I think we're gonna end up in that same boat because Nikki Haley's gonna run, and she's terrible. She's not gonna win. She's never gonna become president. She's gonna be the new Jeb Bush. Will
Well,
Trump himself run? I think it's still up in the air. Will a DeSantis run? Maybe, but I think if a candidate's really smart, I think they need to wait till 2028. Personally, I think could be wrong, but I think 2028 is when the pendulum's gonna swing back completely.
and like that's the other question too is like, um, you know, like I know we say this every time a Democrat gets into office, but like I've had listeners, um, and some people in this chat DM me, um, with like concerns that we're not gonna have anything left by the time 2024 is around. And look, I like to try and be optimistic and say that yeah, of course there will be something left. Of course, maybe we can win in 2024. But you know, like I said in your chat, like it's only the first week, and it's already the first week of Biden's administration, and it's already been a shit week, and we're already going
Well, that
downhill.
happens with every president because on their first 100 days, they try to do as many things as possible. Like that's pretty typical. I mean, what's disappointing, of course, is he's reversing some big things, like he's stopping the wall from going any further. But I do agree with you in some ways because Alex Jones went off on a rant the other day that's been going viral where he's like, "It's over, folks. It's gone. They're taking your bank accounts. They're gonna shut down your power. They're taking everything." And I think what's gonna happen is you're right. There's not gonna be much left. They're gonna take a lot. They're not just gonna take the bank account away from Donald Trump and all these, public figures. They're going to take away from average Joes. And I think it's going to hit such a low and they're going to go very power hungry and they're going to go so far over the next 4 to 8 years that probably in 8 years, unless it really accelerates and it's 4 years, because a lot can change. Like keep that in mind, a lot can change, but it's going to hit that time in 4 or 8 years where people are going to want, I don't want to say a fascist, but like a really authoritarian right winger, a real authoritarian nationalist populist on the right. And it's gonna make Trump look like a baby in terms of like how aggressive they are.
Yeah,
And
if
like Bolsonaro in Brazil. Brazil went through like years of left wing politicians, and then boom, they elect a super authoritarian, in my opinion, too extreme right winger. But in America, few years, think Bolsonaro might not look so extreme.
and see that's the other that is the one concern I do have is like they keep pushing and Gavin McInnes has brought this up before. And yes, Carl from Game of Secret and Kings, I know you're watching, you communist faggot. But yeah, we have one communist who loves to harass me. He never pops up in chat, but I know you're watching, Carl. At some point, the right is going to get so fed up that like people are eventually going to say, and I don't think it's going to be in my generation or our generation, John, but I think the next generation is going to get so sick of the you're a Nazi, you're a bigot, you're a whatever, that they'll just say, okay, fuck it. We are. Like, you may, and you're already starting to see that with like some of the more extreme, I don't want to say extreme, but like, people like Nick Fuentes. Like, Nick Fuentes, he has moderated a bit, as he's gotten older, but like, think of it like there are gonna be kids out there that make him look, normal. Like,
Yeah, I that's actually interesting because while I think mainstream appeal of people going like, fuck it, yeah, I guess I am X, Y, and Z awful things, I don't think that'll happen. But what I do think will happen is, like you said, people are gonna make, and I'm feeling it. Like I follow Nick a lot closer now, and he's grown on me. I think you're gonna look at him and be like, "Yeah, that's not extreme. That's not radical," and it's already happening. But I think you're gonna see other people pop up that people are gonna think are extreme, and they're not. You know, they are actually gonna be extreme, and Nick will be the moderate. But I think this populism wave is just it's gonna go in an interesting direction because it's getting so divisive. Like there's no unity, there's no healing, there's no coming back together, not anytime soon. So I think we are gonna enter a very interesting phase, and moderates always do win, but I think you might get an election where you have an AOC who is definitely gonna run one of these days, definitely, 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 and has a good chance of winning. Will run against somebody that's more extreme on the right, and you'll have an election with maybe low participation, but enough turnout that one of these people's win. May not be what most of the country actually wants, but one of them will win. And you could have an AOC versus Matt Gates, AOC versus DeSantis, AOC versus somebody we don't know that's actually extreme. So it'll be interesting.
mm-hmm. No, AOC is definitely not going to go away. Whether or not
No, she's only gonna grow. She is one of their best,
ugh.
um, uh, I guess you could say communicators. She's one of their best weapons that they hate. Like the establishment hates her, but she's effective. She knows how to play the game. She knows how to play the culture war. She knows how to, um, get into the information warfare.
Well, and as much as I hate to say it, like Biden is actually pretty moderate, as far as Democrats go comparatively.
I think him
And
consciously, yes. It'll just be interesting to see how people manipulate him to do more radical things.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the great thing about having a guy with partial dementia and maybe early on to Alzheimer's in the White House is, he's basically a sock puppet at this point. A very powerful sock puppet, but a sock puppet nonetheless.
Hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We might have another Tea Party sweep this midterm in 2022 because the Tea Party sweep, that was one of the biggest, gains in midterm history. Was with the Tea Party, way bigger than that
Oh
blue
yeah.
wave we saw in 18.
No, I mean when the Tea Party wave happened, let me see. I was only like like this show was still relatively new when the Tea Party happened, and it was like, you want to talk about the glory days? Like for me, that was kind of wave one of my glory days. So just wave two was in 2016 and 2017. Um, but yeah, I mean, the Tea Party wave of 2011 when Andrew Breitbart was around, those
Hmm.
were the fucking rock star days.
I remember too because I mean, the first president I really remember was Obama. I remember watching his version in, I think, fifth grade, and I remember the Tea Party. I remember the Obama some posters where they made him look like the Joker, and I remember Sarah Palin. I remember all that shit, and I remember thinking, you know what? Because I always was like, said, "Oh, I'm an independent," and it's like, yeah, it sounds pretty gay now, but I was like, "Yeah, I'm an independent. Both parties suck, man." But it's true. I mean, like even today, I still really believe both parties, the establishment, suck, and I remember thinking, seeing the Tea Party people, I'm like, "You know what? I like that. Those people I agree with. Like, these are the people. I love this shit." Like, I'm seeing their signs. Illegals go home. Feds, do your job. No more illegals. And that was one of the big things I latched onto as illegal immigration because I felt it's the dumbest thing that we were doing as a country. So the Tea Party was like the prologue to Trump. Yeah, there were things before like Ross Perot and Pat Buchanan, but the Tea Party was like the first major prologue. And Trump spoke at Tea Party events. Like he knew what was going on, and that was the real prologue. I mean, Trump is just chapter one. Like this is the populism wave finally starting up, and I love it. I love populism. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm. No, I just honestly, what I like I said, I love the fact that Trump just loved to fuck with the media, and whatnot, because
Me too.
at the end of the day, like I've 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 got to tell you guys a secret. Okay, it's my deep dark secret that people have kind of heard before, but um, my secret is I'm not really a political guy. I'm not. I'm more of like a pop culture guy. I'm more of a nerd who, uh, you know, I used to just like to joke around with my friends and tell jokes and make politically incorrect, jokes and talk about, you know, uh, boobs and chicks and all the stuff that you do when you're in middle school and high school. And then as soon as like and I mean, my friends and I would also like rag on each other all the time. Like, we'd call each other faggot and like, gay and retarded, and like, my friends would always give me a hard time for, they'd call me a cripple, and like I would even roast myself sometimes, and like just harmless stuff. But as soon as I've noticed it started to get like really bad when I was like in 8th grade, like right as Obama was starting to run with like the whole, oh, you can't say that anymore. Like, when they started coming after like jokes and just like, just like middle school kids being like normal, I was like, okay, what is up? Like, I didn't do anything, right? And so I started to like look into more of like why people were acting so weird, and I started to kind of discover what cultural Marxism was, and that was what happening. Political correctness is cultural Marxism, and it does, happen. And that was kind of when I started to wake up and realize, okay, this is not just political anymore. This is also coming into the culture, and I need to do something about it. So I fucking did.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I mean, now that I'm in it, I kind of enjoy politics somewhat, but at the end of the day, I still hate politics. Um, you know, but that's where we are now. Like, now the culture war is basically like indistinguishable from politics now too.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you being a few years younger than me, I mean, it's even more prominent for you than it is for me, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it feels like culture and politics are intertwined now and fused. And not too long ago, there was a separation. I mean, there was definitely political influence in culture, without doubt. It always has been. But it's like the line has just been erased completely, and it's only getting worse. And I mean, I felt the same way too when I was younger. When I was, hearing that people couldn't tell certain jokes or things were offensive, you can't say that. I mean, that sort of shit always bothered me. Like saying you can't say something always bothers me. It's wrong. It's anti-American. It's against the First Amendment. I mean, go on and on. And I was reading some stuff Milo was posting in his Telegram chat. And one of the things I agreed yet disagreed with him on was he was saying like, "Oh, I get all these people from tours that I did still talking about free speech," and he was saying like that's a 10-year-old issue. Like we've all moved on. Like why are you still talking about this? And I get him on that because yes, kind of is, but I look, I was a college student for like not too long ago, and to me, free speech is still an extremely relevant issue because it's kind of worse. And people think we lost that battle. I don't really buy that. I don't think the battle is really over. I think we won the 16 battle. I think the new battles with tech censorship, with this more authoritarian sort of censorship, like with the My Pillow guy, with
Well,
private companies being authoritarians and anti-free speech. And on campuses, it's still rampant because there's still a lot of things you're told you can't do. A lot of things get shut down. Like, yeah, the spark is gone from all that stuff, but it's still a big thing. And I know, I mean, students still hate it, and they really are upset about it. Like, I feel for them. I think that grievance is still really relevant. It still really needs to be heard.
well, the thing that's a big problem now is the fact that like now people are going back and in like getting people in trouble for shit that you said 10 years ago,
Yeah, cancel
and
culture.
yeah, and I mean, yeah, we bitch about cancel culture a lot here on this show, but it really is a problem because I mean, I'll admit, I have said some pretty stupid shit in the past, and I still do on occasion, but like especially when I was 15 and I started this show, like I will fully admit that, you know, there's like I'm sure even now, when I turn, 30 like 5 years from now, I'm sure there's stuff that I'll say, I'll look back on and be like, how, what was I thinking at 25? I was so naive. Like, people change over time and they grow. Um, and just because you said something when you were like 15 or even in your 20s doesn't mean you should be canceled at like 30 or 40. Um, you know.
Yeah, and I think the free speech battle has evolved from political correctness and trigger warnings to cancel culture and big tech censorship.
Hey man, I'm gonna
But
need to
were you saying something next?
meet.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off the stream in a second.
Y'all.
Yep, see you, man. But yeah, last thing I'll say too, Sam, is that I think to tap onto all that shoot, I had a thought, now it's slipping my mind. That's when you know it's getting late.
Yeah.
But
We'll wrap up here in a bit too. We've been going for a little over 2 hours, so that's pretty good.
mhm. But I think that we need to reignite the culture on the campuses and get back in the fight again, which I've been trying to do and I have been doing for quite a few years. I mean, all the time I was on campus, really. But we need that 16 energy. Oh, I know. I was gonna remember Gamergate. I don't know how much you know about that or were involved with that, but that was something I kind of heard about. I was a little on the young side then.
Yeah.
Uh, that was before I was really into internet culture, and that's something looking back on it that was really, really big.
Well, I remember when Gamergate happened. Like, I was kind of done with. Like, I still game, but like at that point, the podcast had really kind of taken over. So like,
Yeah,
my
that's kind of why I wasn't involved with it either, was that I'd kind of tuned out of the gaming community. That's when
yeah.
I'd gotten busy and I really wasn't involved with that stuff as much. But that was something that was like the first real win
I
against the SJWs in the culture war.
I was more involved with like Comicsgate, which technically is still going on. And
Yep.
I mean, Comicsgate has really evolved more into like culture gate with the whole, again, going back to, Gina Carano, getting canceled. Like that's just the latest thing. Um and you know what? Like that's one thing I will say. Like I'm glad that the nerds are finally starting to stand up to the SJWs. Like good on the nerds, man. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of where I come from. Is like I'm very that's what's so weird about Gamergate. It's like that was something, if I was still a gamer at the time, because I'm now a born again gamer. Um, I would totally be into that shit. That'd be like my Bible. That'd be everything. That would just, I mean, it'd be like the perfect storm for me to be in. And it, and it's a lot of it's like, you know, I don't really fit into a lot of these groups, but like a lot of these people are my type of people. Like these sort of like nerdy people, but we're like cool nerds. We're into games, we're into movies, we're into politics, we're into all kinds of philosophy and books and Star Wars and things that a lot of people kind of like, but not to the level we do, sort of thing.
no, and I mean that's the other thing is now they're starting to come for the you know the comic book reviewers on YouTube as well,
Oh shit.
like Dave Cullen from Computing Forever. Like he used to be a nerd, he used to be like a tech guy exclusively, and then he went into politics, and they took his YouTube channel down completely. They're trying to go after Nerdotic, and he's actually like a pretty popular like comics shop owner in California. So.
Hmm. Yeah, and I wouldn't. It'd be interesting to see if we have another Gamergate type thing come up because that
It,
exposed a lot of the what we now call the fake news media. There were game developers sleeping with game journalists to get better reviews. There were a lot of fake reviews. Also, I think it was called Depression Quest. Yeah, Depression Quest from Zoe Quinn. Getting these like outstanding reviews for like a shit game. And then all these people that were exposing this were getting called sexist and racist and transphobes and whatever phobes they come up with at the time for exposing all this. And these were the game developers calling that, the game critics, the journalists, game journalists, and it was pretty bad. And there were, I know, a lot of threats made, a lot of bomb threats. It was pretty crazy, but it was like the first like major li- like curtain being pulled open of the media of the video game, like the fake news media in general.
yeah. There's a new term that's coming about called that I like personally called the fandom menace. Not the not
Yes.
not the Phantom Menace, but the fandom menace. Because like in terms of Hollywood, like you know, we're getting sick of all of this politically correct stuff invading our fan culture, and like I will admit, like I don't want to out people here, but I definitely know that like I'm pretty sure that John Favreau has voted conservative a few times, and you know, Dave Filoni kind of looks like a hippie, but looks can be deceiving. And
Mm.
they gave us Luke Skywalker in the form that like we all wanted. He gave us like our hero back, essentially. Like that's why, instead of like cucked, soy boy Luke, they gave us actual Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian, which is all people wanted. Um, and
Hmm.
you get more creators like that, and we'll eventually win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think Favreau has participated in anti-Trump stuff, so I don't know how he really aligns, but I don't think he's radical in any way.
No,
I don't think he's an SJW. Let me put it that way.
well, and look, here's the other thing. Like, I don't mind if you're a liberal. I've said that too. Like, I don't mind liberals. I don't mind Democrats per se. What I hate are leftists and SJWs. And I
Hmm.
don't I don't I don't want to necessarily sound like Dave Rubin because he's kind of cocked,
Progressive left.
but I wish that there were more Dave Rubins out there that weren't as like square, that like kind of like Tim Pool is an example of it. Like I know people call him a fence sitter, but like if there were more liberals who were like open to having conversations and like having actual dialogues, we wouldn't be in the mess we are today, for sure.
Hmm. I agree, because it really is a problem from one side. Like,
Yeah,
it is. Like, if anybody's gonna be honest, that's how you gotta look at it.
but
But I think that's a good note to end on. Thank you, Sam,
yeah.
as always, for hopping in.
Oh, no problem. Thanks for sticking on with my stream, and we still did a 2-hour show despite the technical difficulties. So I'm gonna try and figure out what's going on with YouTube so that we can start at 10 p.m. like we're supposed to next week. But in the meantime, Sean, what you know, you we both have about 1 million channels right now because of the whole thing. So where do people follow you at?
On YouTube, you look up Versa Media. That's where we are. Twitter at Versa News Media. Gab, I think it's at Versa or at Versa Media, but you'll figure it out when you see the Eye of Horus with a red background, like on our YouTube channel. Links are all in our description. I believe Sam's are automatically put in there as well. So y'all can check that out. And of course, haven't
Also,
yet, sub Sam.
also at Sean Smanko on Minds as well.
And Gab and Twitter.
Yep, and at Sean Smanko, yep, on Gab, and at Sam Whitfield on both Minds and Gab, and also I'm verified as well on those two platforms. So
I think I have enough of those tokens to get verified on mine, so I think I'll do that.
yeah, it's
I'll give Gab some money to do it.
It's worth it just because like I actually have like one of the problems I ran into during the whole you know war with you know that dude's clan or whatever Owen's clan was they actually did make fake accounts of me and like try and
shit.
so that's and that's kind of when I learned, oh, that's why verification exists. So
Yep,
that's
right.
And that's why Twitter's model is so, it's shit because like even smaller accounts get, parodied and mocked and whatnot. So verification should be legit. But
right, I recommend it too. And my personal account they just threw out there, like that's where I give all my personal opinions for anybody that's interested, or keep people updated on any personal projects I'm doing. I use it more because the Versa thing I try to keep more just for the channel and telling people we're streaming. So if you want to follow everything, can you watch, follow one of the other, whatever you guys want to do. But there will be some big announcements related to me if COVID is gone by the fall and things are resuming to normal on campuses. There's going to be some action on some particularly big campuses. So if you want to stay tuned for that, please follow me.
Sound good. Well, folks, from all of us here at NGC Studios, have a good night. God bless. God save this great nation. God, freedom, legacy in that order. And hang in there, folks. We only have 3 more years until 2024.
We can make it.
Yeah, we can make it. One day at a time, folks. One day at a time. All right. We're out.